You're talking one team, one mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Purest
so
form.
you come in, you work here, and that's it. You work here. You don't get hired as a entry-level bar back, and then you have to work your way up to bartend or whatever. Like, if you work here, you're good enough to be behind the bar, and you should be, and you're gonna learn how we make drinks and what our specs are for these drinks and our kind of style of service. But like, you work here, and there's no delineation of I'm better than you because I'm a higher rank, or I make more money than you, so like, shut up sort of situation. I think there's so many of those things that happens in bars and kitchens and restaurants all over the place. And we wanted to just kind of get rid of that and be like, we're just a cocktail bar, we're making drinks. Come in, put your head down, do your shit, take care of people, get out, and like have a life outside of here and be able to have the money to enjoy that life outside of here. Daiquiri is a super well-known, world-famous classic cocktail. What I love about it is it's different in all parts of the world. You go to Europe, sometimes they're making them with lemon juice. I've seen ones with a little salt instead of sugar. This is kind of one of my go-to cocktails to tell people, like, what do you think I should get? Because there's a lot of misnomers about the daiquiri. A lot of people expect it to be blended, expect it to have fruit in it. They are not really sure or don't know that, you know, the classic daiquiri is very simple. It's 3 ingredients, it's shaken, it's this perfectly well-balanced, amazing drink that can be super boozy without you knowing it. So this is kind of my go-to to tell people, like, hey, I love our daiquiri. Not only is it delicious, but it has 3 ounces of rum, so it's like a good bang for your buck.
That is as perfect as a tiki cocktail as you can get.
So this one is our Joe Redding's julep. This actually harkens back to the original classic recipe of a julep. So juleps were actually made with cognac before they were made with bourbon. But this recipe actually dates back to 1810. So this uses overproof rum, a little bit of Demerara sugar, the Deleuze cognac, we use a VSOP cognac, and then a little bit of 10-year tawny port. So this has War's Otima tawny port. So you get this kind of like nice round mouthfeel with the port, good amount of booze from the overproof rum, and then the cognac kind of rounds it out.
If you like juleps, this hits hard. And if you don't like juleps, this hits hard.
Boulevardier, just a spin off of a classic Negroni using whiskey instead of gin.
Shit, dude. This is fucking good, man. Run for the Roses. Take us way, way back to when and why you started this thing. And first, the name. Where'd the name come from?
Run for the Roses is the gambling term for the Kentucky Derby. So they call it the Run for the Roses because the winner gets a rose garland. So this room that we're sitting in is called the Garland Room. It kind of just happened by circumstance, honestly. I was doing consulting. We were kind of touring this building, talking with the people upstairs, walked downstairs here, and there's a lot of history. There was a lot of junk, and it was gross old office space storage. It
Just
was
beat
not
to
by
hell,
any means
old-ass
polished.
building.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is an 1880s building, but there's been a ton of history and a ton of character in here. It was originally part of the Windsor Creamery. This building was part of the horse stables for that creamery. And then the Celtic was here for 20 years, almost 20 years. And they had off-track betting for horse and dog races. They were one of the only licenses in the entire state to have that. So you could come and bet on horse races, dog races. And they've moved down the street now, but we kind of just took the idea of the history of the building and what's been here and took inspiration from that. So it kind of all started to roll in together. That's like, okay, let's take a little bit of this equestrian, a little bit of this betting, gambling, going to the racetrack,
Little
that
seedy
sort of thing.
underbelly,
Little
like
seedy
off the books
underbelly.
type stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And combining these things that are very high and very low. So you go to the racetrack and you have, high rollers spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and owning horses and things like that. And you have guys that are rounders or that are on their last dollar or, trying to make a quick buck. And they're right next to each other and they're enjoying the same thing. So the idea here was kind of combine those things and have, a little bit of lowbrow things with like these breakfast sandwiches, and it comes wrapped in a checkered, wrapper on a nice china plate and things like that.
This is interesting, right? Poor people, let's just say it, like aspire to be rich, and then rich people are like, I just want to slum it. And there's like this strange thing where you like want what's on the other side of that equation because it's different. You don't know what it is. And so you guys are trying to create that. So you have here where it's old school, like working man's fare and cocktail. Then you also have a room like this where somebody can have an $80 cocktail.
Yeah, we have, cocktails that use reserve spirits. So they're vintage and rare or hard to find things that are all the way from $50 to $100 for those cocktails. Those date, the oldest thing that we have in a cocktail right now is back to the 1930s. It's cherry herring brandy from 1932 production. So that goes into a cocktail. So you can have these incredibly well-crafted $13 drinks, or you can have this $48, $96, almost $100 cocktail, and you're doing it right next to everybody else. The whole space was designed to be inclusive and to force people to interact, pre-COVID and these sort of things.
Yep.
So it's all low, it's all coffee table seating. We didn't put a ton of stuff on the walls. The idea is you're focusing on what's going on your table, with the deck of cards being the classics menu.
So let's get contemporary. What's happening now? COVID, running a business now, running a bar where it's about that commiseration. It's about, rubbing elbows with people. It's about getting, having a couple drinks and having a couple laughs and meeting new people, all these things. These are hugely challenged right now for you. So take us there for you as a business owner right now. Like, what's happening?
I mean, it's been extremely tough for us. We went from being this bustling new bar people were very excited about. It was kind of off the beaten path. We're in the basement. It's a refuge from the cold weather. It's a place that we never packed in. We never had people standing behind you and things like that. It was seated, a little bit more kind of controlled lounge sort of situation. But, there would be 75 people in here on a busy night between here and the front bar. And, overnight it completely changed. So we're down. I mean, we're 50% capacity. We're only allowed to serve booze until 11 o'clock now. It was 10 o'clock for a long time. There's plenty of restrictions that go into that. A ton of our revenue was after dinner already, from 9 to midnight. That's where we saw the majority of our people. That's changed. There's extended patios, there's street closures, there's all of these things that are bringing people out of buildings and outside, which is great. It's what we need and it's helping. But for places like us, I think people have this kind of misnomer of, you're in the basement, it's not as safe, or, I'm going to be more likely to get sick, or what's going on down there. And we have intentionally put a lot of pieces in place to make sure that people are getting taken care of and that we are not getting people sick and we're keeping people spread out. We went from 70 seats to 43. So our full capacity is 50 people with staff, which is half of what we had before. and then everybody's spread out. We are no longer giving out our deck of cards menu to every person. So normally when you come in as a table, you get a deck of cards. That's our classic cocktail menu. So there's 52 drinks on there. You kind of interact with it. You're playing with cards. You're choosing random ones. It's organized by spirit base. So a lot of the experience is that actual menu. That's gone. We can't use that. People can still buy them and take and use them while they're here and then take them home. But that's gone. So now we have a printed menu. Still has the icons and things, but that interaction is different. You're no longer really wanting to talk to your neighbors as much and engage with them and have this communal experience of discovery of other people in the space, and having, a lot of times people would be like starting to play cards with the table next to them and engaging together, and they're picking drinks for each other and sending drinks back and forth. And there's a lot of engagement that you sometimes don't get in cocktail bars. And a lot of those things we can't do anymore, which has been hard. We're clearing glassware less often to interact with glassware that has already been touched by guests. We have different protocols as far as like processing glassware, how it comes back to the dish pit when it goes in the dishwasher, how it's cleaned, things like that. We are taking everyone's temperature and name as they come in the door. So that gets recorded in their reservations. Even if we do a walk-in, we still take their name and phone number. Everybody's shot a temperature. Our entire staff goes and gets COVID tested every 2 weeks.
Wow.
We are taking all of these measures to say, okay, this is a safe spot. We want to make sure everybody's taken care of. The front of the space actually has ventilation that allows the air to escape and go outside. And we're bringing fresh air in from the roof to actually push that through our HVAC system to keep fresh air circulating, keep that outside air coming in. So as much as people might feel it's less safe, which statistically from being outside to coming inside is less safe. But we're trying to do everything we can to still give people that same experience and the same quality of cocktails while maintaining safe distances, safe practices, and the health of everybody, because that's the most important thing. The last thing that we would ever want is for someone to get sick or come in and be sick and spread it to other people, and us doing that either through negligence or just through plain, not caring.
Yeah. Motivating your team, right? The energy of the bartenders behind the stick and hosts and the floor staff. There's an energy. You're here to host people. You're here to create a vibe and be a part of the mood that's set through being here. How do you motivate your team? Having to wear the masks, having to be so over conscious of every little touch point that you're doing, yet still delivering pure and true hospitality, being authentic to the Run for the Roses brand.
Yeah.
Kind of as a leader, how do you motivate your team? Keep them focused on, we are here to provide hospitality and great drinks.
Yeah. I think it's still kind of the same thing that we've always done, The difference is you can't see our face when we're smiling at you. You have to smile with your eyes, and we're not able to have as close of interactions with people. Right. And that's as far as hospitality goes and really taking care of people in that way. It's a different feeling to come into a bar where you know everybody that you used to give big hugs to, right, and not be able to do that anymore. And that's part of the experience, And as far as staff goes, we're here, this is our job, we do this every single day. And it's difficult sometimes to not get burnt out and realize that, hey, even though I'm here every single day, you as a person that's coming in as a guest that's choosing to come to our bar or find it or come downstairs, it might be your first time. So if I'm having a shit day and that comes across to you, you're going to have a shit experience. And that's one thing we just have to constantly, reinforce with staff and let them know, like, hey, we're here, we're going to do the best we can today. We're going to give every single person the best experience we can because we care. And even if we're having a hard day, we're going to check our shit at the door and make sure that we're at the end of it taking care of these people and doing the same thing. If it's one guest sitting at the bar, or it's back in the day when we have a full bar and people waiting in line, we're still going to give the exact same service. I just think it's a little bit different because you can't see our facial expressions as much.
Still hospitality.
Yeah.
Maybe not what we're used to, what we want it to be, what we like. It's still hospitality. Yeah. And I think that's important. Highlight some people. We're all about acknowledgement. Who's somebody on your team, 2 people on your team that you go, that is the embodiment of what it means to be a part of this industry, a part of this city, a part of this neighborhood, a part of Run for the Roses? Give us a couple people to highlight.
I mean, honestly, we have a very small team as it is. There's 6 of us.
Well, let's highlight all of them then.
Every single person, we have everybody from CC, who is our assistant general manager, who's working the shifts and then coming in and doing inventory and make sure inventory is being done so I can order properly. So we're, even as we're way down in revenue, trying not to lose money, trying not to over order, trying not to let things sit on the shelf, and kind of being the leader when I can't be here all the time. There's Garrett, who's worked for us for, he worked with me at another place. I've known him for probably 8 years. And he comes in, he puts his head down, he kicks ass, he works so hard. You can throw him in the service well, and he's faster than most anybody I've ever seen make drinks. He can make, 300 drinks in an hour out of here and just rips it. Does all of his side work, is one of the funniest damn people I've ever met.
Smile on their face and their eyes at all times. Yeah.
And always happy to be here, always great. Shadiana works another full-time job. She works an office job. She works here 2 days a week, 2 nights a week. So she's working 6 days a week, and she still comes in every day and is like, I'm going to take care of these people. Has a bright smile on her face.
It's like the escape. I get to go and be a part of this culture that I love, because at the office, I'm punching in, punching out. Yeah,
exactly. And you get to show some of your personality down here and engage with people and have fun. It's a different atmosphere than being in the office. Anna has worked for us for, I think, close to a year now. She moved here from Chicago, and I've never met anybody who befriends people like her at all. Every single person on the block, she knows their name, what they do, where they're from, a story about them, is friends with them. She's the nicest girl I've ever met and is friends with everybody and provides that warm energy to people that come through here, and you can feel it.
You just have an orbit. There's people that have an orbit. People just get sucked into that. Yep. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and then Makata just joined us. She's been here about 2 months. And she's been mainly kind of doing our garden patio upstairs, but she's going to come down here with us as well. And has just been a great addition to the team as far as taking care of people and working hard. And, we've done something down here where from the beginning we said we want to be different than most restaurants. So we're not going to have a back of house. We're not going to have support staff. We're not going to have individualized roles. We're all going to come in. We're going to do every single job. We're going to split the money. Everybody's going to get a higher hourly wage. We're going to have a work-life balance with only being open 4 nights a week, having 3 days off a week. We kind of set out to do all these things from the beginning. Most of those have been able to stay intact through all of this COVID, with the exception of having to open this kind of satellite bar upstairs 7 days a week right now. But the whole idea here was you spend so much time at work, you should be able to maximize your money, maximize your time, and there's no reason why you shouldn't know everything that happens in here. So you should understand how to seat, how to take reservations, how to answer the phone, how to do dishes, how to build the drinks, how to serve guests, how to clear tables, and also with the snacks, what's in the food and how are they made and what this process is. You're cutting your own garnishes, you're prepping food, we are everybody doing everything. And then at the end of the night, you're like, oh, my bar back was not busting ass tonight, or got drunk, or, why am I splitting my money with somebody who's doing half the work, that sort of situation. We want to kind of get rid of all of that, make sure that...
Because those are classic of the restaurant industry.
Classic, yeah. And
infighting stuff, front of house, back of house, morning versus night. Exactly. Bartender versus server, server busser, all of these things. We're always trying to create these lines where you're not doing what I'm doing. You're talking one team, one mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Purest form.
So you come in, you work here, and that's it. You work here. You don't get hired as an entry-level bar back, and then you have to work your way up to bartend or whatever. If you work here, you're good enough to be behind the bar, and you should be, and you're going to learn how we make drinks and what our specs are for these drinks and our kind of style of service. But you work here, and there's no delineation of I'm better than you because I'm a higher rank, or I make more money than you, so shut up sort of situation. I think there's so many of those things that happens in bars and kitchens and restaurants all over the place, and we wanted to just kind of get rid of that and be we're just a cocktail bar, we're making drinks, come in, put your head down, do your shit, take care of people, get out, and have a life outside of here and be able to have the money to enjoy that life outside of here.
It's a great cocktail, great space, yet what's going to set aside, set apart, set above a brand like this is the stories and the people. And I love that that's at the forefront of what's happening at Run for the Roses. So thanks, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.